Hey everyone, Pink Apple here, and we have just taken back the top spot on the North American leaderboard. Today, I'm going to be rating all of the cards within the Saint Pelin deck, giving you a high rank overview of what cards you should be taking and what's best to avoid. For the first card in our S tier today, we have Rally. This card is an absolute powerhouse, and when you can afford to pick up Rally, you probably should be picking up Rally. Granting a massive 6 power, this card is tied for the most power a single card can give without combos. But speaking of combos, comboing Rally with just one card lets us draw an additional card. This is a rather strong effect and is especially valuable in these aggressive red decks, as they typically lack other sources of card draw. On top of all this, you can sacrifice Rally after playing it for a huge finishing turn, turning this card into a massive 12 prestige play. The card's a bit expensive, coming in at 7 gold, but that's about the peak amount of gold we want to be making in these red decks anyways, so you should be able to pick this up. Overall, Volley is one of the strongest cards in the game when it comes to just slamming down power, and when someone picks this card up, it really puts a timer on the match. Next up, moving on to everyone's favorite card to see on the opening board, we have the Armory. So we're losing a little bit of power level compared to Rally here, but in exchange, the card comes in at a quite affordable 5 gold. This means you can pick the Armory up with 0 investment in your economy, even on turn 1. And since you can buy this card from the first few turns, the acceleration of the match can start much faster than Rally. And it can be really difficult to keep up with the raw power generation from the start of the game this card provides. It's a bit weaker than Rally late game, having no attached card draw and only sacrificing for a 9 prestige play rather than 12, but overall, the Armory is an amazing early pickup and it really puts the pressure on your opponent. Now this might surprise a lot of you, but we actually have a third card in our S tier today, and that's Siege Weapon Volley. This is the upgraded version of Archer's Volley, and honestly is one of the best upgrades in the entire game. We're getting 1 extra power on play, and then on top of that, the combo of 1 gold becomes 2. With this in mind, the card is actually better than Armory if you're landing the combo. And while you do have to land the combo for this card to be insane, the other big strength Siege Weapon Volley has is that it only costs 4 gold. This means a lot of the times, you're going to be able to buy this card and use the treasury in the same turn, making for a super powerful play early on. If you already have cards to combo this off of, like Reinforcements or the Armory, this card becomes really overpowered for its 4 gold cost. It's a little less consistent than Rally or Armory, but it's so cheap and still gives a ton of power early on. This is easily an S tier card in my opinion. Now as for the unupgraded base version of the card, Archer's Volley is quite a bit worse and finds itself slotting into the B tier. Only having 3 power on play hurts a bit, but more importantly, we're losing a gold on the combo. The difference between 1 and 2 gold early on can be game changing, especially in these red decks with typically low gold gains. While Siege Weapon Volley is great in most situations, having high power and high potential gold gains, Archer's Volley is much weaker by default. If you're just grabbing all of the power cards you can, trying to rush to 40 as fast as possible, it's a solid pickup. But outside of that, I tend not to buy this card unless I have lots of red in my deck already. Now moving into our A tier, we'll be starting out with Reinforcements. I usually like any cards giving 2 gold consistently in the early game, and Reinforcements is no exception. The card is cheap enough to still usually use our treasury power after buying it, and has great synergy with the rest of our red combo cards. You're getting 2 to 3 power every time you land the combos on Reinforcements, which is a bit of nice extra power when you're already playing red and trying to rush down the enemy. But more importantly, this is an always solid card that enables our other combos like Rally or Siege Weapon Volley. Overall, this card is always a solid pickup early on, and makes all of the other red cards that much more appealing. Now as for the upgrade, we have Legion's Assault, which is actually currently bugged and not unlockable. On top of being unlockable, this is the only upgrade in the game that is technically a downgrade, being a straight out worse version of Reinforcements. I expect we'll see some changes to this card before it becomes available, But if I were to rate Legion's Assault as it reads right now, I would say it's a high B tier card. It's still offering the consistent gold gains we have with reinforcements, and can still enable our other combos. However, in most cases with reinforcements, you're proccing the 2-card combo for the 2 power. The Legion's Assault only has a 3-card combo, which will not be triggered nearly as much. Onto our next 2 cards, we have Banneret, as well as its upgrade, the Knight Commander. These cards have huge impact and can change the dynamic of the match once you pick them up. However, the 9 gold price tag here is really going to limit how often you can take these agents, especially when you're playing low economy red decks. When you can pick these up, you're getting 3 power every turn they stay on the board. This is going to allow you to consistently use the Red Eagle or Saint Pelin patron powers whenever you'd like. One of the strongest aspects of these cards is being able to sacrifice them with the Hawalu patron power, allowing for an 11 prestige play when you account for the 3 power you're getting initially. While expensive, these cards have a whole lot of value and can be used to push your own prestige super quickly or slow down the enemy's prestige gains. You also have the ability to use the Saint Pelin patron power right after purchasing these, guaranteeing that you can play the card in your next turn. Given just how much these cards can affect the match when someone picks them up, I feel like they make it into the A tier despite how expensive they can be. Now the Knight Commander upgrade adds this heal for 2 health effect on combo, and honestly, this is pretty irrelevant in most cases. Usually, your opponent is either going to be using a knockout effect on your agents or killing them outright, so Knight Commander is not going to see many chances to heal. It's slightly better, but it should not really change when you buy the card or how you play it. Next up, we have our final B tier card with Shieldbearer. This is a pretty straightforward contract agent, providing a 5 health taunt and 1 power every turn that it remains in play. Typically, spending 6 gold for a temporary 1-use taunt is not the best we can do for that price. But if you're getting rushed down and need to survive an extra turn or 2, this can make the difference. Where this card really starts to shine is in fast aggressive play using the Hawalu patron power. You can pick this card up and immediately sacrifice it for an instant 6 prestige. Shieldbearer is an S tier card in that scenario, but overall, if you're not sacrificing the card in the rush to 40, it's a pretty average agent. One extra thing to keep in mind is that you can buy this card to instantly trigger any combos in your hand. Alright, now moving down to the C tier, we have Bankera Sentries, as well as its upgrade, the Knights of Saint Pelin. These are pretty lackluster cards for their cost, and much like the C tier cards in my other deck videos, they see their best value when being sacrificed with the Hawalu patron power. If you do manage to pick these up early enough versus an opponent who is rushing power, then the taunt can actually slow the game down by a couple of turns as you figure out your own win conditions. Overall though, Bankera Sentries just doesn't have much going for it, and it's really low impact for the gold cost compared to cards like Currency Exchange or Rally. Pick this card up if you desperately need a taunt, or there's no other high cost cards available and you just want to sacrifice something. The Knights of Saint Pelin upgrade just adds a 2-card combo for 1 power, and this is not really a meaningful change. It's slightly better, but essentially the same card. For our only card staying in the D tier this time around, we have the Portcullis. This is honestly a really strong contender for the worst card in the game in my opinion. And unless you're playing the Sorcerer King Organum deck, I would almost say it's always a mistake to pick this card up. You're only getting 2 power on play here, which is really not speeding up the game much at all. Then to make any gold, you need to combo this. Except you're likely buying this in the first turn or 2, so you don't have much to combo off of. And then, even when you do land the combo, you're only getting 1 gold, so it's not even better than a gold coin. Honestly, I don't think I've even picked this card up 5 times during my climb to rank 1. And I'm actually glad every time my opponent picks this card up, as I know it means I'll have an easier time winning the match as they dilute their deck. In the end, Portcullis is an extremely weak card, and you should only be picking this up if you just need anything at all to proc your combos, or desperately need any source of power you can get. And that's going to be it for my rankings of the Saint Pelin cards. If you like playing Saint Pelin, I highly recommend pairing it alongside the Grandmaster Hollow deck, as being able to sacrifice your cards for prestige enables that rush to 40 strategy so much better. This is going to be letting you double the prestige cards like Rally can give you in one turn, and also turn the agents into amazing prestige plays. If you still have questions about any of the cards, or if you disagree with any of my placements, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be trying to respond to each and every one of you. If you found this insight helpful, please leave a like on the video, and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with the rest of the tier list videos coming out soon. I've been having a lot of fun with the game in my fight to maintain rank 1, and I'm really looking forward to getting more Tales of Tribute content into the space. Until next time, and may the Divines bless your taverns with turn 1 armories.